Indian news channel WION has been spreading anti-English lies. And what makes it worse is this is a channel with over 6 million subscribers. And this video alone has had over 1 million views. Perhaps worse still is it has had over 13,000 comments, many from people who have had their view of England negatively shaped. Here are some of the clips exposing the lies and propaganda, starting with the opening statement.
It was the supposed duty of the whites to bring culture and civilization to the non-whites. That's the white man's burden. That's how they explained colonialism. They were educating and civilizing the heathens. The British were the masters of this. British apologists still believe that India would not have had an education system, a civil service, a sense of social propriety and etiquette had the British not lorded over it.
This video is supposed to be about England fans and their conduct during the European Championships. Yet there is no mention of football in this opening statement. It's just a rant about colonialism from centuries past. Clearly, this is someone who doesn't like England, and this sets the tone for the rest of the video.
Their fans turned into booze-fueled savages. They attacked Italian supporters and racially abused their own players. Instead of accepting this result, the fans lashed out. They were violent and racist. These pictures should give you an idea. The English fans threw punches at Italian supporters. They flung them to the ground and kicked them. Even the Italian flag was stomped on.
She's saying here we have England fans attacking the Italian fans. Well, she's either a disingenuous liar or revealing her complete ignorance. The footage is England fans attacking other England fans. This is the final, and England fans who didn't have a ticket decided to break into the stadium. Obviously, fans inside the stadium who had gone to great lengths and expense to get a ticket were enraged by this. So they decided to attack the gate crashers in a bid to stop them getting into the stadium. Since when did Italian fans who are breaking into the stadium wear England flags around their necks? Where is the Italian flag? Because the only flag I can see on the floor is an England flag. She exposes her own lies in this next clip.
The face of Britain was laid bare at Wembley. Things got rowdy even before kickoff. Just look at these so-called fans. They did not get tickets to the final. But instead of staying home and watching the match on TV, they decided to invade the stadium. They broke through barriers and jumped fences. It was less of a celebration, more of a riot.
In that clip, we see footage of England fans breaking into the stadium, which she rightly describes. Where did you think those fans were going? Surprise, surprise! They were trying to get inside the stadium. And as we saw, they were greeted by angry fans as they broke through the doors. That proves it was England fans attacking other England fans. And the propaganda and lies just continue in this next clip.
3 English players missed their penalty. All 3 of them were players of colour. It's a matter of pure coincidence, but not for English fans. They piled on the abuse and hate, compared those players to monkeys and called for an all-white team. Well, at least the facade is off. England fans aren't just hurt by the loss, they're hurt by their own country's diversity. For them, the players, referees, fans, everyone must be white. In Manchester, a mural of English star Marcus Rashford was defaced. Such treatment is reserved for players of colour.
Apparently, these players were only abused because they were black. Now, I'm not denying the abuse took a racist turn because they were black, but that is not why they were abused in the first place. They were abused because they missed their penalties. Any player, any England player who misses penalties or is seen to be responsible for England getting knocked out of a tournament will face horrific abuse regardless of their skin colour. David Beckham was seen as being responsible for England losing in the 1998 World Cup quarter-final by getting himself sent off. He received horrific abuse. I saw and heard unspeakable stuff said about him and his family online. He was the most hated man in the country for a while. They were even burning effigies of him outside pubs, for God's sake. I'm fairly sure they weren't reserving the abuse for him because he was a person of colour. They plucked this tweet from Twitter as evidence of racism from white English supporters. Do they have proof of where this tweet came from? Tweets could be from anyone, anywhere in the world. Everything about this tweet points to it being from a foreigner. Master Beta seems a ridiculous name and may well be a fake account. The guy in the picture looks Indian, if anything. He certainly doesn't look white. In British English, we spell coloured with a U. That's C-O-L-O-U-R-E-D. This is spelt the American way without a U. Most foreigners around the world are much more likely to use American English. No English person is spelling coloured the American way. Then he says England shouldn't allow coloured players in their team. Their means someone else's, not your own. An English person would use our to refer to our own team. If I was talking about Germany or some other nation, I'd use their. Clearly, this is someone talking about the England team as another country. They also use soccer in the tweet. Again, that's an American term. No English person is calling it soccer. We call it football. Clearly, this tweet is written by someone who is absolutely not English. Yet, here they are, using a tweet from a non-white foreigner as evidence of racism from white English fans. Absolutely unbelievable. Now, the police said they don't believe the graffiti on the Marcus Rashford mural was racially motivated. Clearly, we aren't going to allow the facts to get in the way of their anti-English story. And in this final clip, they attack England for its COVID situation.
Delta variant is driving a new wave of infection. The cases have been on the rise for weeks now, but at Wembley, there were no masks, no social distancing. Look at the crowds. More than 60,000 fans were packed into the stadium, hundreds more, probably thronged bars and pubs. A World Health Organization official summed it up perfectly. Am I supposed to be enjoying watching transmission happening in front of my eyes? That's exactly what the Euros were. A super spreader event sanctioned and celebrated by the government. For Britain, it was a declaration of victory. The maskless fans were proof of Britain's pandemic success. But they may have celebrated too soon because in the end, the trophy did not come home, but the Wuhan virus certainly may have.
Football didn't come home, but the Wuhan virus certainly did, she said. How can a virus from Wuhan, China come home to England? Surely the only place it can come home to is Wuhan, China. Geography, not a strong point, it seems. While Indian media was attacking England's COVID situation, let's take a look at India's own COVID situation.
No social distancing either, and no masks in sight. This is the other India, not rising, but left behind. People here say the living are barely counted, much less the dead.
We've been told that 26 people have died here with symptoms of COVID-19 in the past month, but none of them were actually tested. That means they're not included in India's official death toll from the virus. Now, this is just one village, but you can multiply this across India.
Now, my country, England, was one of the first countries to send massive amounts of aid to India because clearly its government doesn't seem to be doing anything. For those of you who don't know, India is an emerging superpower and currently the 7th richest country in the world. Maybe this woman should concentrate on the situation in her own country before criticising England. Now, I'm not defending the scenes in England as they were horrendous, and really disappointing to see. But she has twisted the footage and told outright lies. And because of that, I wouldn't get my news from this channel. As they've proven, they are clearly prepared to spread total lies and propaganda.